I never thought a simple tattoo could open a door to something like this, or lead me straight into death. My name is Marcus Lane. I'm 39 years old. On March 17th, 2023, I died on a dark road just outside Phoenix, Arizona. Most people around here know me as that tattoo guy with the cross sleeve, or the Jesus tattoo artist. I own a shop called Living Lines. It's in this artsy part of Phoenix. My studio's walls are covered with framed sketches of doves, thorns, scripture verses, angel wings, stuff that once meant everything to me. Now, I wasn't sure anymore. I used to be a youth pastor. Yeah, clean cut, Bible in hand, playing acoustic worship songs under string lights every Friday night. That feels like a different lifetime. Back then, I believed every word I preached. I really did. But life has a way of messing with your perfect little picture. It started with burnout. People I trusted. People I prayed with. People who turned cold the moment I started asking hard questions. When I left the church, I told everyone it was about a new season. But the truth? I was angry. Angry at God. Angry at myself. Angry that I still cared. Tattooing found me in that angry place. I used to doodle during long sermons, draw angels with armor, lions with halos. A friend opened a parlor and asked if I'd apprentice. I told myself it was just art, another way to express beauty. And honestly, it felt like a lifeline. Ink and skin didn't judge me. Lines stayed where I put them. People came in broken, and I gave them something meaningful. That felt like ministry, too. But it didn't stay that simple. There were moments, quiet ones, usually after closing, when I'd stare at my hands. These same hands that once held communion bread were now inking ancient runes, skulls, and symbols I didn't fully understand. And every time someone asked for a tattoo that didn't sit right with me, I told myself, God looks at the heart, not the skin. Still, some nights that didn't help me sleep. My sister Jenna was the only one who really saw me. She's younger than me by 3 years, but wiser in ways I never was. She'd come by the studio sometimes, bring coffee, tidy up the waiting area, pray under her breath like I wouldn't notice. You're still his, Marcus, she'd say. You just got lost in the ink for a while. I'd laugh it off. I'm good, sis. I know who I am. But I didn't. Not really. The day Austin came in started like any other. He was this quiet kid, skinny, maybe 16 or 17, dark hoodie pulled over his head even though it was 90 degrees outside. He showed me a design on his phone. It was some kind of symbol, like a broken circle with thorns and an eye in the middle. I felt something shift in my gut the moment I saw it. Where'd you get this? I asked. He shrugged. Just found it online. Looks cool. Do you know what it means? He hesitated. Not really. Maybe protection or something? I should have said no. Everything in me wanted to, but I didn't want to seem like I was judging him. I told myself, it's just a symbol. It's not your job to fix everyone. So I inked it. He didn't talk much. Just sat there, eyes closed, breathing slow. When we finished, he looked at the tattoo in the mirror and said, maybe now I won't feel so invisible. I didn't know what to say to that. I still don't. That night, Jenna called me crying. Marcus, it's Austin. He tried to take his own life. They found him in the bathroom at school. I dropped the phone. I don't remember much after that, just this crushing weight in my chest, like I'd swallowed a brick. All I could think was, what if I made it worse? What if I gave him a mark that pushed him deeper into darkness instead of helping him feel seen? I closed the shop early and took my bike out. It was late. The streets were mostly empty. The wind against my face felt sharp, like it was trying to wake me up. I kept hearing Darren's voice, my old mentor from church. Ink may fade on the outside, but not everything fades in the spirit. I hated how those words followed me everywhere. I don't remember the exact moment the crash happened. Just a sharp curve, a flash of headlights. Then everything slowed down. My last thought was simple, raw. God. Was I wrong this whole time? I don't know what you believe about people like me. Maybe you think I lost my way. Maybe you think I deserve whatever comes after. But maybe you've also had those moments. When you wonder if the good you meant to do somehow turned into harm. When your passion became something you barely recognized. When you looked at your life and whispered, "This wasn't supposed to be me." I think everyone has felt that kind of ache. The truth is, I didn't stop believing in God. I just stopped believing He still wanted me, that He could use someone like me again, that He hadn't crossed His arms and walked away. That night on the road, I was sure it was over, that I'd wasted my purpose, that I'd traded something holy for something hollow. But I was wrong, and what happened next changed everything. I used to think death would be loud, screaming tires, sirens, people yelling, but when it finally came, everything just got quiet. I remember the screech of my brakes, the flash of a headlight, the weightless moment before impact. And then nothing. No pain, no sound, just silence. At first I didn't even realize I was dead. It felt more like I blinked and the world had shifted. One second I was gripping the handlebars, trying to hold on. The next I was floating, watching the wreckage from above. I could see the twisted metal, the bent wheels spinning slowly, my own body lying still on the pavement. My helmet had come off. There was blood on the ground. And that jacket Jenna got me for my birthday, it was ripped wide open. And there I was, just watching, like it wasn't even me. "Am I dreaming?" I whispered. But the wind didn't move. Time felt frozen. The world looked thinner somehow, like a curtain had been pulled back and I was seeing something underneath it all. I should have been scared. And for a moment I was. A deep cold fear crept up my spine. What if this is it? What if hell is real? What if I led people the wrong way? But then something warm wrapped around me. It wasn't a hand. It wasn't a voice. It was something I can't fully explain. It was peace. Real peace. The kind that quiets every fear you didn't even know was screaming inside you. It wrapped around me like light. Not bright like the sun, more like morning light through curtains. Gentle. Safe. Kind. I felt weightless, not just in body but in soul. The guilt I carried for years, the questions I never dared to ask, the ache that lived behind my ribs, it all started to lift. I looked down at my hands. They were glowing. Not like fire, but like they were made of music, or maybe light and memory mixed together. I could see through them, but they felt more real than my body ever had. I wasn't alone anymore. Someone was pulling me upward. There wasn't a tunnel, like people always say. Not exactly. It was more like the air opened up, and a doorway appeared in the sky. But it didn't look like a door. It looked like a veil made of gold, and I was being drawn toward it without effort. As I rose, Phoenix faded below me, the cars, the lights, the city buzz. The noise of the world fell away. What replaced it was music, but not the kind with notes or lyrics. It was like the sound of colors, the feeling of every good memory I ever had, playing all at once. And then I arrived. I didn't land. I just was there. The ground looked like light made solid, like crystal that shimmered with every step. The sky wasn't blue or gray. It was living, breathing color. And the air, if you could call it that, was filled with something I can only describe as love. Love was the air. I breathed it in, and every broken part of me started to mend. I didn't realize how empty I had become until I stood there full. And then I saw him. He didn't walk toward me. He didn't descend from the clouds. He was simply there, in front of me. And when my eyes met his, I broke. I collapsed to my knees. I didn't care how strong I'd tried to be. I didn't care about my pride or my questions or my inked-up skin. I just wept. It was like every tear I'd swallowed over the years, the ones I never let anyone see, finally poured out. I couldn't hold anything back. I didn't want to. Because for the first time in my life, someone saw all of me, not just the artist, not the ex-pastor, not the brother, or the failure, or the man trying to pretend he was okay. He saw me, and he loved me. I don't know how I knew it was Jesus. He didn't say his name. He didn't need to. His presence was like a memory buried deep in my soul, something I had always known but forgotten. He didn't look like any painting I'd seen. His eyes weren't just kind. They were endless, like oceans made of grace. His robe shimmered like it was woven with morning light. But the thing that undid me was his smile. He smiled at me like I was home. I tried to speak, but my voice cracked. I was wrong. I expected judgment, a list of everything I'd messed up, the clients I disappointed, the tattoos I should have said no to, the sermons I never finished. But he knelt down beside me and touched my shoulder. And the moment he did, something inside me shattered and healed all at once. "My son," he said. Just 2 words, but they hit harder than any sermon I ever preached. I sobbed. I curled into him like a child. I felt safe in a way I didn't know was possible. Not safe from harm, safe from shame, safe from myself. He let me cry. He didn't rush me. Time didn't exist there. Or maybe it did, but differently. Every second was eternity, and yet it passed like breath. I wanted to stay there forever, just at his feet, just seen. And I think he knew that. He lifted my chin with his hand. His touch was fire and water and light. "You were never alone, Marcus, even when you ran, even when you doubted. I never left you." I tried to speak again, but the words got stuck in my throat. "How could you still want me?" I whispered. "After everything I did?" He looked into me, not at me, into me, and said, "Because I know who you are beneath the ink. I know the boy who wept in prayer, the man who carried burdens that were never his to bear. I know your heart, even when you didn't." His words weren't just heard, they were felt. They moved through me like waves, washing away layers of shame I thought I'd have to carry forever. And then he said something that will stay with me until the day I draw my last breath. Again, "You're not too far gone, and your story is not finished." I don't know how long I stayed there, but I do know this. Every ache I ever felt found its answer in his presence. And even though I didn't want to leave, I felt something stir behind me, a pull, a nudge, like a door opening somewhere far away. Jesus stood, and I knew he was about to show me something, not to punish me, not to shame me, but to help me see the truth behind what I thought I understood. Because what he revealed next, it wasn't just about me. It was about a world caught in lies, and the love strong enough to break them. Jesus didn't rush me. After what felt like an eternity of just being in his presence, he stood and looked toward the horizon. There was no sun, yet light was everywhere. It moved like it was alive, soft, golden, holy. He turned to me and said, "Walk with me." I followed, not because I had to, but because every part of me wanted to. His presence was like gravity, but gentler, like love that pulled instead of pushed. We walked in silence at first. I could hear something in the distance, like voices, singing, maybe wind, but it was all wrapped in peace. My steps didn't feel heavy. I didn't feel the weight of guilt anymore. But questions still stirred in me, deep ones, the kind I'd hidden for years, even from myself. He stopped beside a flowing stream, clearer than any water I'd ever seen. It glowed faintly, like moonlight resting on silver. "Marcus," he said, "tell me what still burdens you." My throat tightened. "I thought you already knew everything." He smiled. "I do, but I want to hear it from you. That's how healing begins." I looked down at my hands again, those same glowing hands I'd stared at after the crash. I clenched them into fists. "I hurt people," I said quietly. "Not on purpose. But I did." He waited. I continued. "I left ministry because I was tired, angry, confused. And I told myself it was just a new season, but deep down, I was running." I looked up at him. His eyes were soft. "And when I started tattooing, I felt alive again. I thought maybe this could be something good, but then the lines blurred. The symbols, the darkness, the critics online saying I was dragging people into sin, and then Austin. I couldn't finish his name without my voice breaking. I should have told him no, I whispered. He was just a kid. Jesus didn't speak right away. He sat beside me, eyes on the stream. I gave you your gift, Marcus. The hands to create, the eyes to see beauty in broken places, the heart to listen deeply even in silence. Those gifts are not evil. But I misused them, I said. I let the world shape them. He looked at me then. Yes, the world is loud, confusing, broken. It twists what is good and shames what is sacred. But that doesn't make your gifts bad. It means the world needs more light to see clearly. Tears blurred my vision. But what if I opened doors I didn't understand? What if I marked people with things that gave the enemy access? Jesus was quiet for a moment. Do you remember what you told Jenna? He asked. I blinked. Which part? God looks at the heart, not the skin. I nodded slowly. He leaned closer. You weren't wrong. That surprised me. I waited for more. But, he said gently, you were incomplete. His eyes met mine. The heart matters most, yes, but the body is not separate from the spirit. Every touch, every symbol, every word, it matters. Not because I'm looking to punish, but because I care so deeply. What touches my children matters to me. I looked away, ashamed again. I just didn't want to be the angry preacher anymore, I said. I thought if I was softer, more open, people would feel safe. You were trying to love them, he said. And that matters. But love must carry truth. Otherwise, it becomes permission to wander deeper into pain. Those words sank deep. Then he placed a hand on my chest. His touch wasn't heavy. It was warm, steady. You carry shame for not saving Austin, he said, but Marcus, only I save. A sob escaped me. I should have seen it coming. You saw the ache, he said. You felt the darkness, but you forgot something. What? That I was with you, even then, speaking, warning, whispering. He paused. And even now, Marcus, I'm speaking to children like him every day. They are starving for truth, surrounded by lies that wear the mask of light. They are marking their bodies, not as rebellion, but as a cry for someone to notice them. I swallowed hard. Jesus continued, this world is confusing the children. It's offering false identities, false comforts, false safety, and many of them walk into darkness thinking it's home, because no one told them otherwise. I thought of Austin, his quiet voice, that strange symbol. The way he'd said, maybe now I won't feel so invisible. I'd been so afraid of offending him that I forgot to protect him. I didn't know how, I said softly. I know, Jesus said. But now you do. Something in me broke open again, not from pain this time, but from purpose. You want me to go back, I said. Don't you? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he turned and waved his hand, and before me I saw flashes of faces, dozens, hundreds, maybe thousands, young people, some with piercings and dark clothes, others looking clean and polished, some crying in bedrooms, others laughing with friends, but empty inside. They're not lost, Jesus said. They're longing, and you, Marcus, you speak their language, not with perfection, but with humility, honesty. You can meet them where they are. I don't want to leave you, I admitted. I've never felt more whole. He smiled. That's because you were never meant to live apart from me, and when you return, I will go with you. Every step, every stroke of the pen, every conversation. He stood again. I didn't want to move. My heart ached to stay. I don't want to mess it up again, I said. You will stumble, he replied gently, but you will not walk alone. His hand reached toward mine. Tell them what I showed you, he said. Tell them they are seen, loved, called, and tell them I have more for them than symbols in ink or words online. Tell them I know their name." I took his hand, and as the light around us began to dim, I realized I wasn't afraid anymore. Not of failing, not of rejection, not of living. Because now I knew what love really was, and I knew who would walk with me. I woke up choking on air. There was a blinding white light above me, not heavenly, but fluorescent. The kind that hums in hospital ceilings, tubes in my nose, beeping machines, my chest on fire, my mouth dry as sand. At first I didn't understand. I wasn't supposed to be here. I had just stood with Jesus. I had felt his arms around me. I had heard his voice call me son, and now I was back. Back in a broken, noisy world. Back in a body that hurt. Back in the life I had left behind. I wept. It wasn't fear this time. It wasn't guilt or regret. It was grief, because I didn't want to leave that perfect place. I didn't want to leave him, but even through my tears I remembered what he said. "You were never meant to live apart from me." He hadn't sent me back alone. The doctors said it was a miracle, said I shouldn't have survived, said it was impossible that my brain had no damage after flatlining for nearly 4 minutes. I didn't argue. I just nodded and whispered, "Thank you." Jenna was the first to rush in. Her eyes were puffy, her hands trembling as she gripped mine. She didn't say anything at first, just cried. "I prayed," she whispered, over and over. "I prayed you'd come back." I looked at her, really looked at her, my sister, my anchor, the one who always saw the real me, even when I didn't want her to. "I saw him, Jenna," I said through cracked lips. "I saw Jesus." She gasped softly, and the way her tears flowed, I think she already knew. Recovery was slow. Broken ribs, concussion, fractured shoulder. I couldn't move much for weeks, but my spirit, it had never felt lighter. I spent hours just watching the sunlight creep across the walls, listening to the sound of my own breathing, thanking God for each moment. And when I closed my eyes at night, I didn't feel fear anymore. I felt longing to be close to him, to hear his voice, to stay near his heart, here, even now. I knew I had work to do. The first thing I did when I left the hospital was close the shop for 2 weeks. People thought I was crazy. "You'll lose clients," they warned. "It's bad for business." But I didn't care. I needed space, not just to heal physically, but to realign. I spent long mornings reading scripture with fresh eyes. I reread letters I wrote in my early ministry days, the ones filled with fire and faith and hope. And I prayed, really prayed. Not polished words, just raw, honest talking with Jesus. He didn't just rescue me. He reawakened me. One of the biggest changes? Time. I used to measure my days by how many appointments I could squeeze in, how many clients I could book, how much money I could make. Now, I measure by something else entirely. Presence. Like showing up to Jenna's on Sundays, not just for dinner, but to wash the dishes and sit on the porch with her afterward. Or calling my dad, who I hadn't spoken to much in years. We talk now, about fishing, about regrets, about God. I started writing letters to clients from the past, especially ones I wasn't sure I helped, including Austin. He made it through, by the way. I visited him a few months later. He was quiet, like before, but this time I looked him in the eyes and said, "You're not invisible. You're deeply loved." He cried. I cried too. My tattoo work changed, not in style, but in intention. I no longer take appointments for symbols I can't spiritually stand behind. I don't shame people. I explain. I guide. If someone wants something dark or confusing, I pause and ask, "What's this really about? What are you hoping to feel with this?" And you'd be surprised. How many people open up? How many are just looking for meaning, for a sign that they matter? And when they walk in with fear, I try to send them out with hope. There's a girl named Ruby who came in a month ago. 17, purple hair, guarded eyes, asked for a tattoo of broken wings on her wrist. When I asked why, she said, so I don't forget I'm a failure. I looked at her and said, or maybe we could draw healing wings, still cracked but rising, a reminder that broken isn't the end. She looked at me for a long time. Then she nodded. I've stopped rushing through life. I eat slower. I laugh more. I don't answer every message right away, and sometimes I just sit on my shop's rooftop at night, looking at the stars, whispering, I remember Jesus. I remember you. Because I do. Every day I carry that memory. His smile, his voice, his eyes that saw everything and still called me worthy. Maybe you've been carrying shame too. Maybe you've made mistakes you think are unforgivable. Maybe you've walked away from everything you once believed. I just want you to know, you're not too far gone. Jesus didn't meet me with a list of my failures. He met me with love. And that love, it changes you. It opens your eyes. It softens your heart. It gives you courage to go back and make things right. Not to be perfect, but to be present. To shine a little light where the world's gone dark. I still have scars, some on my skin, some in my story. But now, I see them differently. They're not marks of shame. They're reminders of grace. Because once, I died. And Jesus gave me life again. And now, I'm spending the rest of it making sure others know they are seen, they are loved, and they still have a purpose, just like me.